Welcome back to Holistic Healing Association. I'm Erin Darcy. I'm certified in embodied processing and clinical hypnosis. Today I have with me Eda from Australia, who's certified in embodied processing. Thank you so much for joining us. And would you like to tell us about yourself and what led you into somatic processing?
Thank you, Erin. Thank you for the intro and for having this really important conversation. So, I live in Australia. I've been here for the past 15 years, but maybe you can tell by my accent, I'm not originally from Australia. I'm actually Turkish. I was born in Istanbul, and but then we lived in another town in Turkey. Then, when I was about 10, 11 years old, my dad took the whole family. Well, when I say the whole family, the whole nuclear family to the DC area in the US. And after that, after I graduated uni, I moved back to Istanbul because I always wanted to experience the Turkish culture and way of living there. And I felt I really needed to get back to my roots. And then 7 years of that, I moved to, well, I didn't make the conscious decision to move to Australia. I came to Australia to visit my brother, ended up meeting my partner who's Australian. And then I've been here for 15 years since, having just some brief visits back to the US and to Turkey. But I've been calling Australia home, and this is where I have my roots. So very happy to be here and very happy to have done the embodied processing certification because I felt it was essential with what I was experiencing, the disconnect here with the culture and where I came from, and I needed to find a framework to sort of make it all work together as now we have a young family, and I want to also pass down my culture and my heritage.
Okay, thank you. And what are the benefits you have found from somatic processing?
Oh, absolutely. So I found that, and this was something that I was not aware of, but my nervous system was going into, especially the fight response, very quickly. I had a lot of like protection mechanisms built up around me where people, even well-meaning people, couldn't really get through. And this meant my partner. So it was really taking a toll on our relationship. And I started my somatic therapy journey, like a lot of people do, with the trauma informed coaching certificate, which is also offered. That was my way in. And then when I realized the trauma framework and the permission based way of working with people, I said, look, this is probably the next level in how we practice psychology because it really gives the person that you're working with a lot of autonomy. It gives them their voice back. And yeah, that really connected and resonated with me. And I've really been enjoying doing the embodied processing work on myself, giving and receiving sessions. And now I have a few paid clients. So I've got a practice that I've just started up, and I'm loving the journey. And the journey starts with me. I have to do the inner work. And as I expand, I find my capacity to hold space for my clients expands and just means organic growth, which has been just phenomenal to see.
Okay, thank you. And what I'd like to do today is start off with a body scan.
Mm.
And I invite everyone to join in with us. Is a body scan helps us identify what we're feeling in our bodies and help us become more embodied. So what I invite everyone to do is to have a seat in a quiet place that there's no distractions, no noises around. And if you're comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes. So I'll just give everyone a moment to do so. And I'll just walk you through it. And just know everything is welcome. All emotions are fine to feel. Everything is accepted. There's no bad emotions. I notice is we're doing the body scan if you're feeling these sensations. And would you prefer us going through starting off with your head or your feet, Eda?
Start with the head. I'm feeling a lot of head cold and pressure, so let's start there.
Okay. All right. So if everyone would like to close their eyes and just take a breath, just relax. And just simply notice what's happening in your forehead. If there's any sensations present, and if you don't feel anything, that's totally fine. We're going to go through the whole body. Anita, as we're walking through this, if you do feel any sensations as we walk through this, if you can invite us in and allow to tell us.
Yeah, so I'm feeling like pressure on my cheekbones.
So if everyone would like to move to their cheeks, just notice what's happening in your cheeks. Okay. And then we'll go to the nose. Notice what you taste. Your jaw. We hold a lot of anger in our jaw, so just notice if there's any tension, any tightness. And I invite everyone to even put their two hands up on their forehead and just gently massage their face, their temples, and just notice how that feels in the body. Just rub back and forth. Be very gentle. Jaw. You can even do the ears, massage the ears, and just let out a sigh. Moving down the neck. Just notice if you're feeling any sensations or if any emotions come up as we're moving down the body to the shoulders. You may like to wriggle the shoulders around a little. Just let out another sigh. Moving down the arms very slowly. And you may like to even rub your arms a little. Moving down to the forearms. And what's happening in your body? Yeah?
Yeah, it's feeling like a gentle rubbing on my forearms. It's just feeling really delightful.
In your hands, you can rub your hands back and forth, put a little bit of pressure on, and just notice what's happening.
There's a bit of tingliness on my palms. They're tingly. They're warm.
Move back up the arms to your chest, and maybe even putting your hand on your chest. Letting out another sigh. I find a lot of emotions are held in the chest and sensations. And when working with clients, I find this is a very common area we can start to feel.
There's like a bit of a swirl, like a gentle sort of, not a tight, but like a gentle swirl.
Is there a color?
Oh, it's like gray. sort of like a warm, fuzzy gray, probably like my jumper. But it's like it's really sort of like a yarn. It's soft.
Soft. So is it light or soft?
Yeah, light and soft.
Small or large?
Oh, it's like medium size.
Remove that down to our stomachs. And again, this is a very common spot to feel emotions, sensations. There's a common saying, I feel it in my gut.
Mm.
There's a reason behind that. And going back to our shoulders, starting to slowly work down your back. And just notice what's happening, and everything is welcome. If you feel a tense, pain, any sensations at all, going to your lower back, very slowly moving down your spine, slowly working down to your lower back. And then going into your hips.
Interesting because my hips have been very tight. And they're still feeling quite tight today.
That's a when we that can be also a common place. And your glutes. Notice what's happening in your glutes. Body workers are excellent for this type of work too, because we can hold our emotions in our body, and that can help cause us to tense our body. And moving down to our thighs. And just being fully present with your own body. I invite everyone to do this every day. Your knees, even a few moments a day. It'll help you become a lot more embodied. Your calves, your ankles, and your feet. And just putting a little bit of pressure into the ground. And just noticing what happens when you put a little bit of pressure into the ground in your body. And ground your back against the chair and your feet against the ground. And I invite everyone, just take another sigh
Mm.
and just slowly open your eyes and start to look around the room. And this is a grounding exercise. We can look to the left, we can look to the right, and back to the left again. Go nice and slow. And to the right, and to the left, and to the right. And then slowly look around the room and pick an object. So if you can pick an object in the room, and let me know when you have it, Eda.
Got my glasses. Looking at my glasses.
Okay. And what color are your glasses?
They have like a red frame and they're clear and sort of like a dark red with the frame.
What shape are they?
It's sort of like a round shape.
And just notice what's happening in your body. Can you tell everyone what's happening in your body?
Yeah, I can feel a little bit of a tension come up to my shoulders, like just trying to hold my shoulders up, and a little bit of tensing in my abdomen area and my stomach, just sort of bracing myself. And I can feel my left calf. It's like it's in a sort of funny angle, so I'm readjusting my position in the seat.
And is there a place in your body that you feel a sense of calm or peace?
There's like some sort of motion movement in the stomach area, a little bit of butterflies. Calm is, I would say it's like behind my eyes, there's calm.
So if you just want to take a moment to just feel into the calmness before you tell us about your trauma story. And just let us know when you're ready. Take all
Yeah.
the time you need.
So when I was born, we were living with my grandparents on my dad's side. And it was quite unsettled because my mom and dad didn't have their own place. So, and my mom did not really get along with my mother, with her mother-in-law, with my paternal grandmother. And I feel like even as a baby, I was crying a lot, and that made the house even more tense. And there was that sort of that feeling of lack of connection between my dad and his father. They had a lot of arguments, and they had like ideological arguments, and they never saw eye to eye. So there was a lot of disharmony in that relationship with my father and with my grandfather, and both my mom and my paternal grandmother. There was a lot of like tension. People were just not coming together, working constructively. Um, and I think we moved from there when I was still a baby. So we moved to a different town when I was still sort of little. And I just feel the rootlessness of it all, just always having to go somewhere else because we never felt really quite settled in or with our people. And it just always felt like there was a disconnect, a lack of belonging from my early years. And it just always prompted moves in my family. And moving house is one of the most stressful things. So when we moved to the new city, I think my mom was quite stressed out. And I could sense that she had a lot of anxiety. Maybe she was going through postpartum depression. Like it just did not feel like a happy, safe, connected. Like I don't feel like there was a lot of emotional connection. And that sort of carried out throughout my childhood. Where as I grew older, my mom and dad, they started having arguments and they were just unable to see eye to eye. And there was always tension. There was always arguments about everything. And it just, yeah, I just remember being just hiding in my room majority of the time in my childhood, or just, like trying to be out as much as possible. And that was my brother as well. So he sort of like started staying with friends when he was a teenager. And I was just sort of staying in my room and trying just not to even see the parents because they were always going to dump something on me, complain about each other, ask me to pick sides. And I just did not want to be in that position. So I just avoided them.
And how did that impact your nervous system?
Yeah, I feel it's made me a very avoidant person. Like every time I could sense that there was a bit of tension, a bit of argument, I would just sort of like run away from it. Or if somebody had something to say, even if it was well-meaning, I would just like fight back, not wanting to take that on. So there was a lot of fight flight responses.
And what's happening here in your body as you're telling me your story?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of sadness sort of come up, like, all of those bit of grief, like all of those missed opportunities where we could have just like sort of come together and just had more time together, enjoying something we all enjoy. It's a lot of grief now that I look at families that get along. Because growing up, I didn't think, like, I thought people did not like their families and they were not a place of safety. I thought family was something that people had to get away from as fast as they could. And now I'm just looking at some of these families, and we're at a 70th birthday, and all the children, the grandchildren, they have such love and connection and bonding. And I'm just like, oh, wow, that there is so much grief that comes up when I see that because I never had that.
And when did you come to the realization that some families were different than others?
Yeah, it was when I met my partner, and they would come together like for Sunday dinners. And then my sister-in-law has a very supportive family, and they genuinely enjoy being with each other. They take family holidays together where everybody enjoys being with each other. To me, that was like, I could not even fathom that before seeing my sister-in-law's family, especially.
And what emotions came up the most in your EP sessions as you were processing your emotions? And how did processing them help you?
Yeah, anger came up a lot. Anger was like on the surface of all this grief, the sadness. And then as we started working with anger, like I could see the sadness and the loneliness and like the dark hole underneath it.
So
Like
it's like
that
it
dark
peeled
hole.
down like an onion, like
Yeah,
layers.
yeah. And then like now I can sort of see clearly that the dark hole is the bonds that I never had with my family, that we never bonded or made the time to come together as family, create those opportunities to be there for each other. There was, yeah, there is a complete lack of that.
And how can people at home start to soften their shield that they may have built around themselves due to pain?
Yeah. For me, I think it was having kids, because as the anger was coming out, because I had to provide something for them, that sense of emotional safety, security, that I had a deficit of. Like, I was like, "Oh, I don't know how to give this to them. I never received this growing up. Like, how do I do it? I'm working with a deficit here." And it's just like, oh, like, this is beyond me. And I thought I couldn't do it. And then with embodied processing, as we peeled the layers, I could eventually get to the self-care, which I could provide for myself. And then as I started nourishing myself, eating better, looking after my own health, sleeping better, really prioritizing myself, I could give that care to my children. So it is a bit counterintuitive in that the care has to start with you, and then you can give it to the other people around you. I was trying to go the other way. I was like, oh, I have to look after them. And if I can't, I'm horrible, I'm failing. But I really had to like look after me first and give myself the goodness, my own care, and look after my own health. And then I was a lot better at sensing where my children were at emotionally and being with them, genuinely being with them instead of projecting onto them what they might need and going crazy that they maybe don't want a jacket if I'm projecting onto them that they're cold and they're pushing back, and I'd be like, oh, you have to have a jacket. What are you doing? You must be freezing. And then it will become a fight. And now because I'm taking care of myself, making sure I'm like clothed and warm and comfortable, I look at them and if they're not cold, I'm just like, that's fine. Their body's different. And, if they're enjoying, that's great. And it's made me a lot more in tune with them.
And putting on the mask on yourself
Yeah.
so you can help everyone else. And when we can take care of ourselves and
Yeah.
be in that place, then we can be a better mom.
Yeah. And it was so counterintuitive. I was so resistant to it. I'm like, no, no, I don't deserve to look after myself. Like, I don't have the time to look after myself. What am I doing? But then when I did stop and started like reconnecting with myself and bonding with myself and looking after myself and making sure that my body was looked after, it just flows from that. And it's like so effortless. Like it just becomes so easy once you get into the practice of tuning in and giving yourself that attention.
And noticing what's happening in your body and also reflecting on the reason. Like if we're doing a behavior, what are the motivation? What are the reasons behind it? Right?
Yeah.
And is it coming from a place of love? Is it coming from a place of stress? And is it coming from a place of trigger or right? Just exploring um, what's happening in our own body and doing self-care. And then it can help with our children at home. And have you experienced low self-esteem in your life? And how did that impact parenting?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. So low self-esteem is it's a killer of relationships, I find. When I feel like when I go into this loop, oh, I'm not a good mother, I'm not looking after them, my kids are not listening to me. It just means that I feel like I have to be more forceful to get them to listen. And then feel more sad because I've just yelled at them. It just becomes such a downward spiral and it just becomes quite destructive to the bonds that we could be building and getting in tune and connecting. And yeah, my inner talk was terrible. And I still catch myself like criticizing and judging myself. And thankfully, I'm getting much better at catching that sort of loop and interrupting it by bringing the attention to the body. But it is the low self-esteem is a relationship killer because we're judging ourselves so severely that disconnect, it just creates such a disconnect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's being mindful too of what our thoughts are. What are we saying to ourselves? And we may not even be aware of what we're telling ourselves. So if we become more in tune with our body, our mind naturally starts to slow down and the racing thoughts start to slow down and there starts to become more peace and calmness and just checking in with it. What are these thoughts? And asking yourself, is it true?
Mhm.
And when
I
you
mean, like,
tell your best friend the same.
yeah, like one of the things that low self-esteem really brought up in me was this constant comparison with other moms, other women, especially, just constantly comparing and thinking they're better and just getting envious and just really jealous and just becoming more rageful. And it was just a really bad cycle.
I think we all have our strengths and our weaknesses as parents. We can all do better. But we also have to meet ourselves with self-compassion. And if we can truly tell ourselves we are trying, and sometimes we are going to stumble, but if we get up and we and try again, and every day it's getting up and trying, well, then that's being a good mom.
Yeah. And also, like, I wanted to bring up the inner child that never sort of developed properly because she didn't receive the nourishment because my parents were just always fighting. So I had to bring attention to the inner child and meet the needs there as well. So in a way, I have three kids. Like I have my two kids, but then I also have like the inner child that really needs my nourishment now that I'm becoming safer and you know, a person who can hold those emotions.
And that makes sense because the more we do our healing, the more present and things can come up. And so noticing what's happening with your inner child, right? And what they need and what their needs are, the pain that's coming up, and processing the pain and starting to become present, just allowing, sitting with the pain and starting to process it. Um, but it's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. Um, it's a journey and there's ups and there's downs, but um, it's a growing experience. And what did you personally find help you build self-compassion and acceptance for yourself and your inner child?
Yeah, doing the mindfulness work, tuning in, becoming aware that my body has needs, that I have emotional needs. And yeah, it's very human to have emotional needs and to look after our bodies even before we look after everything else around us.
And what advice would you give for everyone watching today, who are struggling with low self-esteem at home?
Yeah, start small. Like start small. It could be something like every morning looking in the mirror and just sort of, you know, doing something for you that you feel will make you feel good. And just start small, and then your practice will grow from there. Like if you really like having some breakfast food, make sure you prioritize that and you have your thing that you really enjoy that day.
And how can you connect with your body after a person experienced trauma?
Hmm. I mean, I did get into a lot of like doing 5 minute meditations and just tuning in, doing the body scans, and that was sort of my in so that I could see what was really happening and stop me from being so reactive to every little thing that was irritating. To I when I could get into that mindfulness state and slow things down, I found I was not as reactive. Things in the outside world did not bother me as much. Even 5 minute meditation is so helpful.
And what does it mean to be truly embodied?
It means as you're walking in the world, you're feeling every step, feeling every emotion, moving in the body, being aware of that inner sense and trusting it, trusting your inner truth.
And it's a slow process. Um, it takes time. And I can't say anybody on this planet is 100% embodied. We feel so many emotions a day. But the more work we do, and I noticed I can speak for this from personal experience, the more work that we do, the more embodied we become.
Absolutely.
And the more emotions we're going to notice that's coming up for us, and the more sensations we're going to start to notice that's happening in our body. Right? And we're going to start to possibly feel it in different spots. I know I felt it in my feet. That I was felt nervous, and all of a sudden I could feel it in my feet, and I was standing up.
The shakiness or the knees, the shakiness in the knees. And when I walk into a situation where I'm like, and you kind of feel that like the feet want to move backwards, like away from that situation that feels a bit daunting.
Um, and yeah, so it's really every day doing exercises to help us become more embodied. One would be just closing your eyes a few moments, even a couple times a day if you can, and just noticing what's happening in your body. And do you have an embodied exercise that you'd like to share?
Yeah, mine is very simple. It's like when I wake up, I try to look at the sky first thing, just sort of like raise my head if I can just take myself outside and see the sky. And then I feel my feet on the ground. And then I try to connect with the region between my heart and abdomen. Feels sort of like a sensation there. And that's my quick morning start.
Okay. And just take your time with it. Just go nice and slow, uh, with all our embodied exercises. And again, it's a journey. It takes time, and it fully accepting yourself is a huge step to healing. And again, that takes time, but it's baby steps moving forward. And the more we do, the easier it becomes and the more natural it becomes. I notice all the time now. Be resourcing to give myself a sense of safety. I'll naturally find myself hugging myself or putting my hand on my heart or putting my hand on my stomach and my heart. I'll be like sitting at church and I'm just like holding my body.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling. That is so lovely.
And it's so many different situations that I just find I'm not even like thinking, oh, I'm going to do this. It's just I find myself in this position. Um,
Giving yourself a
because
hug,
giving
such a
yourself
nice.
a hug because
Yeah.
it becomes organic. It just naturally happens. You're not even thinking. I would find myself in this position and I'm like, oh, I know the first time in an EP session, somebody told me to give myself a hug to support
Mm,
myself. And I was like, support myself. That doesn't feel good. And it did not feel good to me because
mm.
I got a lot of support growing up and I always leaned on people. And I was like, I don't want to support myself. What the heck? This doesn't feel good. And I was like, okay, I'll do it because they told me to. And I'm doing it. And I'm like, this does not feel good to me. It feels uncomfortable. Now I find myself naturally doing it because it gives me so much comfort just to hold my body. And it's different spots. Just like often I have my hand here and my hand up here. That's a common spot. And just I'm
It's so
holding my
interesting because my experience with like when I found out I could give myself care and love and support myself was like such relief. It like opened my eyes. I'm like, oh, so I don't have to get my family who just don't care to care about me. Like I can give that to
you just
myself.
gave
It's
it
a
yourself.
relief. Yeah.
And I'm teaching my 4-year-old daughter this because I think it's so good. Like I'll say, okay, you're feeling a little bit sad. That doesn't mean I'm not giving her the love myself. I hug her, kiss
Yeah.
her, I'll give her a hug. But I'm like, okay, do it for yourself. Put your
Yeah.
hands here. Hug yourself. Can you
Yeah.
love yourself? Do you love yourself? Yes. Hug yourself, right? So I'm teaching her how to support herself, but at the same time, it's critical every day, multiple times, kissing, hugging, everything. That's so important. That's crucial for parents to do, but also, yes, teaching your child even to be able to support themselves. Um, just it helps. Would you like to end with a resource? Is that okay?
Yes, I just wanted to have one last comment about the
For
fact
sure.
that we can support ourselves. It was an eye opener because before I knew that I could give myself my own care, I was getting really angry, stuck in a loop where I would go to my mom and tell her something I really cared about, and she would not care, and it would make me so upset and so sad. I tell my dad, I try to get my brother to care, and they would, of course, really checked out, and it would just make our relationship even worse. And now I don't have to share it with them. I just give myself the support and love and see myself and witness myself.
Hmm. No, it is, I mean, it's nice to share too, with
But with the right
even one
people. Some
person,
people,
but
yeah,
to be able to do that for yourself is also. Good. So it's good to do both, right? But not everybody has one person. Um, so it's nice to be able to have that.
Yeah.
I know as a single mom, it's definitely nice to be able to give yourself that love, self-love, and support.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if everyone would like to close their eyes again, we're just end with a resource. And Eda, is there a person you'd like to bring in? For resources, we can bring in a person that brings us a sense of safety. There is a memory. There is imaginary place. Finding a spot in your body that you feel a sense of safety. What would you like to do?
Oh, my place is this magical place that I've made up. It's under a jacaranda tree, and I'm reading a book, and it's a beautiful spring day.
Okay. So if everyone would like to bring themselves into, let's try imaginary place. And just if you feel comfortable keeping your eyes closed and letting out a sigh and grounding your back against the chair, your feet against the ground, and bringing yourself to the imaginary place, a place that will give you a sense of safety and peace. And as you do the resource, I invite you to notice what's happening in your body and if you're feeling any sensations and where are you feeling them.
I'm
So
just
it's a beautiful spring day for you, Ida. And if you would like to tell us what you see, what is, if you look all around, what do you see?
Yeah, I'm in a very lovely grassy knoll, and there is a jacaranda tree above me. It's a beautiful spring day. There's like bluebirds chirping, and I can feel the breeze, and the warmth of the sun on my skin. It's just beautiful.
You can feel the sun against your skin.
Yeah.
Is it warm?
Oh, yeah, it's lovely.
What are you standing on?
I'm just sort of like my back's against the jacaranda tree, and I'm trying to read like a book. I've got a book in hand, and I'm just like leaned against the jacaranda tree. And I can see like the flowers dropping, it's sort of like a purple rain around me with the flowers dropping.
And what do you smell?
It's like that freshness of like new life, new flowers, the grass, nature.
What do you hear?
All the birds with little chirping.
What do you taste?
I can sort of taste like the freshness in the air, that sense of like possibility of what's going to come, the blossoms.
And you look up in the sky. What do you see?
Beautiful blue with like some puffs of clouds, like the sun sort of in a distance. Beautiful, perfect sky.
And I just, I'll give you a moment. Just take it all in. And for everyone at home, just notice what's happening in your body. Just look all around. Look to the left and notice what you see. And look to the right and notice what you see. And notice if there's anyone that's safe, that's with you. Notice if you can feel the breeze against your skin, or the sun, what the weather's like in your imaginary place. And Eda, what's happening in your body?
I have a sense of calmness, sort of very serene, settled, like I could go to sleep.
And where are you feeling this in your body?
Oh, like in the heart area, like that sort of, I'm held, I'm safe, my heart is good.
So I invite you to put your hand on your heart, and everyone at home, if you feel any sense of safety or peace, or even neutral, you can anchor in a sense of safety and anchor in this sense of peace. I know you can come here anytime. Just let out another sigh. And when you're ready, you can slowly start to open your eyes. And what's happening, Ida, in your body?
So it feels really calm, really settled, still.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming today. And if anyone watching has any questions, you can email us. You can also write in the YouTube box below. Any comments are always welcome. And thank you for watching. Thank you so much, Ida, for coming for a second time.
Thank you, Erin, for
And
holding the space.
thank you. And I'll see you guys next week.